Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are around the world. I want to welcome you into our latest BookBaby live broadcast. This is number 7. We've covered 6, I think, really interesting topics for the first half dozen, and number 7, I think, promises to be just as hopefully enlightening for you. I'm Stephen Spatz. I'm the president of BookBaby, and we're going to spend a good 25, 30 minutes or so talking about some really important topics for folks who already have books out or are people who their books are in the final stage of pre-sale and they have high hopes for the holiday season. And even though, it's 95 degrees here where I live and very humid, and it's tough to think about Christmas, now is the time for you to lay the groundwork for all the things that you can do, all the creative ideas, all the wonderful things you can plan for that November and December timeframe. So that's what we're going to do this end of August broadcast, to get you thinking about things, what you can do in the next few months to set you up for the rest of the year. So I will ask my assistant Carter, who's on vacation in North Carolina and has graciously taken a few hours off from his vacation to help me with this, and we'll go right to the presentation. All righty, so there are 1,000 ideas you can have for boosting holiday sales. I've tried to winnow them down to 12 things that I think will really help. And they're really kind of categories, because it's more than just 12 things, but it's 12 categories of the kinds of promotional and marketing activities that seem to have worked very well. What do I base this on? This is 5 to 7 years of talking to BookBaby authors after the fact. What worked for you? What did you do? How did you try? And sure enough, after the holiday season, I'll be asking authors again, what was different in a kind of a post or lingering COVID-19 environment? How could you get out there and sell your book? So it'll be interesting to see how this presentation might change. So let's go forward. Here we go. Come on. And there, finally, PowerPoint. So I'm Stephen Spatz. I'm the president of BookBaby. BookBaby, just like me, BookBaby was born in Portland, Oregon. I'm also an Oregonian, as a matter of fact, and have been with the company coming up on 16 years, as a matter of fact. I was one of the rare people who have I worked for Mattel and Hasbro at the very same time as consultants. That's a story for another time. Maybe I should write a book about it. Maybe I will. But I think the most important thing I have to offer for you today in terms of a genuine, opinions and authenticity is, like you, I am a self-published author. I went through BookBaby. Of course, it's pretty easy for me, but really they do make it very simple. But being a self-published author, I know your triumphs, I know the tragedies. I also know the joys and the inspiration and the happiness of what the process can bring to you. So hopefully that's going to help as we go through this. All right. So again, we're going to talk for about 30 minutes on things about about self-publishing and marketing. This one's really going to be all about marketing. I'm going to leave some time at the end for your questions. I've already gotten a bunch over the weekend that I'm going to kind of sprinkle in. But please, if you have any questions, put them in the comments area. Put where you're from, too, by the way. That's sort of fun to find out where people are viewing this. And I'll try to get to those, as many as I can. If I don't get to them on this broadcast, I typically also do an email after the fact, of sort of like a mailbag. So please feel free to share your comments then all the way through. Also, by the way, these covers that I'm showing off here, these are all done by our BookBaby designers who are located all throughout the U.S., and they do some amazing work. And finally, one lucky attendee will be selected at random to receive a publishing consultation phone call. I just had a great one with Marianne yesterday. Marianne, hello. I know you're viewing today's broadcast, and I really enjoyed that. We talked about her book. We talked about how I recommended that she get a developmental editor to help kind of develop what format, what voice she's going to do with her book. And I look forward to seeing it. I think it's going to be a very special, personal book. So how are you selected as perhaps the lucky attendee? You need to share this video and tag a friend in the comments section to be automatically entered to win. And we'll hopefully choose that by the end of the broadcast. I also, at this point, want to encourage you to join our growing and lively authors of BookBaby Facebook group. We've grown to 750 authors, and I understand that it's quite lively, the attendance back and forth. I don't go into there very often. I think I'm going to start doing that, though. It's great that people who are brand new to the process, they can go in there, ask questions about self-publishing, not just about BookBaby, but about self-publishing as a whole. So I think it's pretty valuable. So I urge you to join that as well. Okay? All right, so let's dive into this. As I say, these aren't necessarily 12 ideas, but these are 12 categories of ideas to really get your holiday book sales going. And I know it's difficult to think about this. Let me just tell you where I come from on this. I'm a person who doesn't believe that pumpkin spice should be allowed out until October, okay? No, it's too early to have pumpkin spice in September or August. Christmas decorations after Thanksgiving. I'm a hard liner on this. So I'm not advocating you should go out and put lights on your house now to be thinking about Christmas. I'm talking about the things, the groundwork, the planning you can do for getting book sales off the ground, okay? And specifically, I'm looking at the months of the calendar. Can you believe there are only 4 months left in this year? I don't know where the summer has gone. But what I'm going to ask you to do is think about the next 2 months of what you can do to plan ahead, to call, to contact, to outreach, to introduce yourselves to key people, as I'm going to talk about here during the broadcast. That leaves you the opportunity to sell like crazy the last 2 months. All the work you do in the next 60 days leading up to November will really pay off, and you won't be distracted and thinking about, oh, maybe I should do that, maybe I should do that. You've had that discussion with yourself at the end of September, not at the end of November. So this is really going to pay off for you. So I strongly encourage those, again, who have books that are ready to go out now, but also authors, if you haven't published yet, just file this away. And I'll give you, but by the way, you don't have to think about the details of this. I'm going to send you links to where you can find a much more detailed presentation in excruciatingly long detail about where you should go and what you should do. So enjoy the presentation, take a few notes, but I'm going to send you links to where you can get this all in a download so that you can have it for your records. All right, here we go. Without further ado, this is really important. All right, and to me, when I have any kind of project, to me the timeline is incredibly important. I've got to lay out and make sure I've got plenty of time. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. All right, you need to treat this like a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is a long process. Now, of course, it doesn't end at Christmas, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But if you want to if you think you have potential for holiday sales, all right, you now have to think about things that you do in September will pay off in November, December. So again, now through the end of October, meet people, talk to folks, find Facebook groups, find other social media, find local author groups, all kinds of things like that. Then November, flag is up. And you put all these things in motion. As I say in the articles and guide, I'm going to tell you at the end, it's much more specific about what you should do when. An important period of time is Black Friday and Cyber Monday, no question about it. You need to really make sure your email list is working and you're doing your social posts so that you can catch the time when people are saying, oh God, what do I need to do for Christmas? And then frankly, there's even a time period in December and even after December. There's some things you should look for. Again, the blog post and the guide will kind of help you pinpoint it. But I just want to make the point of planning ahead, get the calendar out, put it up so you can see it and go through that. All right. What goes with a timeline? It's a budget. Now, marketing your books, it's usually not a free thing. All right. You need to devote some money to it. Now that could be in time, in terms of your time, gas to go around to bookstores or to book signings. I mean, you are going to spend some money. You need to decide, though, where the best investments are. I've always said from day one, investing in a website is critically important. It's the end of August right now. And when you're viewing this, you would have time to either upgrade or create a website for you or your book. It doesn't take long. I'm doing one this weekend, as a matter of fact, for one of my books. It's going to take me a weekend. And yeah, it's probably not going to win any marketing awards, but it's going to be effective. I'll have search engine optimization included in it. So invest your time in a good website. Social media ads, they're really working well. We have a program. Other folks can do it on their own. It's a great place to find readers. Your book has to turn those readers into buyers. Your Amazon page does that, your metadata on the page, but social media ads exposes your book to a huge amount of potential readers. And if it's done correctly, if you pick the audiences or have experts, such as BookBaby, we do have experts who can help you pick an audience. These are really paying off nicely. And Amazon ads, I get a lot of questions about those. They're really for advanced authors. When you've exhausted some of the other things, I suggest you can now get into those. You don't dabble out of though. You really need to know what you're doing before you're going to see a payoff on Amazon ads. And you can spend a lot of money quickly. So proceed with caution. There are book discovery services. I do list them in the blog post. BookBub is one I always recommend if you can get your book there. But by the way, there are 30 others you can look at too. And some of them are free and some of them are by genre. Great way to get your book out there. And again, you might have to budget somewhat for it, but you do have to plan ahead. And then finally, think about materials for your local outreach. There's going to be a question that I'm going to answer here during our Q&A period talking about some actual paper materials, and I'm going to suggest that. And so think about that. But again, my blog post goes into excruciating detail about that. Then finally, I think this is really important, especially as we come out of COVID-19, our masks may be back up, but we are going out and meeting people again. This is when you really want to get out your outreach going, okay? This is finding every local bookstore that's around, introducing yourself, not pushing your book on them, but just tell them you're an author, ask what kind of programs they have. Go to your local libraries. They're tremendous resources. They love to talk to local authors, all right? Talk to them, find out if they have any programs. Do they have signings? Do they have special nights where authors can do readings, all right? Again, the local bookstore is very important. And then creative ideas. Where do people congregate during the holidays? Is there some kind of tie-in? Are there some festivals going on in your city? Are there opportunities for you to be a part of places where people gather, coffee shops, tea houses, whatever it may be. Again, but just thinking about who can I meet, who can I talk to? Is it a TV station? Is it a local radio DJ? Is it your local community radio, NPR people? So this is the time to think about who can I introduce myself to and my book. All right. So number 4 is this: be conspicuous. What I mean by that is make sure you've made it easy for your book to be found and your book to be purchased. All right. If you have a printed book and you're out there, but you don't have an ebook done, you should do that. It's very easy to do. BookBaby can do it. Other people can do it as well. Make sure that you have the maximum readership. I think I've said this before. I'll repeat myself. When you think of the overall global audience of readers, 25% of the people in this world only want to read printed book. 25% only want to read on an e-reader. The other 50%, they toggle back and forth between whatever's convenient. So if you don't have either one of those mediums, you are missing out on a potential audience. So it's really important you get it out as much as you can in either printed books or ebooks. And then finally, distribution is key. Of course, you need to be on Amazon. That's absolutely the very minimum. But there are many other places where your book could be, iBooks and Google and all kinds of places around the world. So again, make sure that you're out there. You've got your book in all the right places. You have the right type of medium of your book too. Okay. Number 5, attract attention, but in the right way. And that's what I mean about talking about book cover design and formatting. Use a pro. By the way, it's probably going to be the topic of my end of September talk about what the difference is between just having a blasé cover and having a cover that pops out and catches the eye of people. All right. The other portion of that is metadata. What is metadata? It's very boring. Data about data. But really, it's your author bio. It's the description of your book on Amazon. Make sure you've taken great care to do the best job you can. It's funny. It's one of the hardest things for some authors to do. Here, they've written an 80,000 word book, but to actually put together a 5-paragraph synopsis of what their book is about is very difficult. Take the time and do it right. Make sure people know what they're buying, and you do that by having a great cover, great design, and great metadata. Okay. Number 6 is this, and I call it that you're entitling yourself, and that again means that you're an author, you have the title of self-publisher, and you have the title of a bookseller. If you work this correctly, all right. What I mean to that is you can be selling your books direct to reader. I mention this very often on these broadcasts. It's borrowed from music, where musicians decided to go, sell their music direct to fans. We're trying to encourage this at BookBaby to sell direct to reader. All BookBaby authors have a bookshop page, and we give highest royalties in stock 24/7, and you're paid very quickly. But there are many other ways for you to have your book available on your own website, on your Twitter feed page, your main Twitter page, other places online. So really don't ignore the possibilities of having people come to you as a brand. You're an author, you're an opinion leader if you position yourself correctly. So don't be afraid to really think about how you can be selling direct to your fans. We have many ideas in the blog post I'm going to mention to you. All right, let's go to number 7. And then it's social media, which can be very intimidating for some authors. and it can be a real challenge. Again, take the next couple of months, September and October, to learn about it. All right, observe it. You don't need to jump in there and just say, "Hi, I'm an author. Buy my book." Get conversations going or join in conversations. Comment on people's posts. All right, this is where you can build some communities, foster some relationships with other people, and you maybe even ask the advice of somebody who seems like they're a really good Twitter user. Wow, they have a lot of followers. I wonder how they did it. They're going to be happy to share their secrets with you. So again, get acquainted with it. Don't try to do all at once though. Twitter might be appropriate for some. Maybe LinkedIn is better. Maybe Facebook is better for other folks. So you don't need to be everywhere, but whatever you do choose, do it well. And you do have to keep up to date with changing technologies. I don't know if anybody has heard about Book Talk, but it's something I ran across a couple of months ago. It is part of TikTok, the phenomenon that's around the world. But this one part of TikTok, it just focuses on books, and they've had 12.8 billion views as of last week. I don't think any dancing or funny-looking cats are necessary to the success on Book Talk like so many other TikTok videos. But it's a great way, and you should explore and see, maybe that's a way for you to get word out about your book. And you never know, it could go viral. Finally, boy, number 8 is really important to me, and I'll be doing a extensive blog post about this in a couple of weeks. I really feel strongly about the power of email, okay? I just read a stat, again, about the comparing a social media presence with an email presence. It's night and day. With an email, you have been given liberty, license to use that email address to communicate. It's a very personal thing. And hopefully you've been building up this valuable asset. If not, in a couple of weeks, I'll have a great blog post for you to go step by step of how you can build it. But this time of year, think about increasing the frequency. Let's say I'm assuming you have 1,000 people on your list, and that'd be great. And you're sending them emails maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks. That's a good minimum amount of contact, but now you can ramp it up. People are expecting to be hit with a lot more emails and social posts and things like that. Increase your frequency, all right? Focus on book and gift-giving ideas in the content. Give people a reason to choose your book as that next Christmas gift. So email is very powerful, and I'll have a lot of tips in these articles too about how to do that, all right? Then we go to what every merchant is doing probably now. And I don't believe in Christmas sales in September. However, there are opportunities for you to do the same kind of tactics and make deals. All right. They're tried and true because guess what? They actually work. So these are things like bundling 3 books for the price of 1, or doing a buy one, get one free type of thing like you see in every single holiday discounts. Maybe you want to discount it for the week between Black Friday and Cyber Monday to get people interested in it. If they look at your book for 99 cents, they think, wow, what a great gift it would be for my whole family, and they'll buy other books. But do think about post-holiday sales as well. People get e-readers. People have a lot of downtime after Christmas. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be, books make a great type of gift, type of thing for them to think about after the holidays? So don't let everything die off on December 24th. There are plenty of opportunities afterwards, as I'll talk about a little bit. And then free shipping on books is always a nice thing. And you can either discount it or do something like that from your bookshop page. So think about deals that you can make. 10th one is a really nice one, especially, again, as we emerge from our quarantine that we had to experience it last year. Find other people who are like you. And I mean, in terms of authors. And, people say, well, won't this author think I'm in competition with you? I don't know anybody who only reads books from one author. Typically they read of the same genre. So if you can find some local authors that are writing the kinds of books that you are, what a great opportunity to link up. Reach out and introduce yourself. Again, this community is very giving. They're very open to share information and knowledge and secrets. Nobody has a monopoly on readers. And I think it's really wonderful to see how people do reach out and support. This could foster some things later on. Maybe you're going to trade lists. You don't actually trade email names, but author A introduces author B to their list and vice versa. And then, and so to get that sort of going, you could do cross promotions. Maybe you and author A, B, and C want to bundle one of your books in for a deal, and give 3 books for the price of one, something like that. And then I've even heard that some authors, if maybe it's a little late to do this, but they could contribute a short story and do a quick ebook that's an anthology of, say, 12 authors in one single ebook, and give that with each of the sales of their other books. You can really get creative, and this is the place for I think, to find other people's ideas and their experiences in this and take advantage of it. Speaking of that, it is creative time. So, people in that last week before Christmas, if you haven't started Christmas shopping, you're desperate. If you're just thinking for a stocking stuffer, you really can focus in on that. And again, talking about the methods of getting this. Email is one of the best ways. And get really creative here. You can bundle your book with tickets. Maybe if you know some local merchants, they can do, a book with a candle, a book with coffee, something like that. Again, that's part of the outreach I talked about earlier. Get to know where people congregate during the holidays, and maybe there's some kind of great tie-in. People are very sympathetic and very supportive of local authors, and you just have to introduce yourself and get it out there. And gift wrap books, it's a very simple thing. If you have them out there and a merchant will take them, boy, that's a very simple thing to put as a stocking stuffer. So get crazy. And then finally, when people ask me, are the holidays the very best time for a self-published author to introduce their book? And I really say, there's no bad time, but sometimes the holidays can be tough to introduce a brand new book. All right. So don't get discouraged if things don't go as well, because frankly, not a lot of people have a lot of time to go searching for a brand new author. Now, mind you, if you're out there in the community, they don't have to search much. If you've done the work in September and October, well, you've avoided some of those issues. But I've heard of a lot of people targeting the week between Christmas and New Year's, and they really hit their list hard and social media hard with deals. And and again, use what you've learned to form that next marketing calendar. Something that has popped up again. I heard about this about 4 years ago. There's an organization called HARO, Help a Reporter Out, and there are about 5 or 6 others that are like that. And you go onto the website, and these reporters are asking for story ideas. Does anybody know about the pitfalls and joys of raising ducks, or of following a college football team that never wins a championship? Oh, that's me. I would write in and say, hey, I've got a great story about that. And I've heard a lot of authors who get great PR, especially during these dead periods of like between Christmas and New Year's, and even into January. So again, consider, when can readers truly find your books and how they find them? And looking at all kinds of opportunities, our BookBaby authors have really managed to find ways to extend their sales in a big way. And again, the new year, don't let off the throttle. If things are going well, keep promoting. All right. Now, here's the good news. Hopefully you have not taken notes. Here's how you get the information. I did 4 posts on the BookBaby blog. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get the idea. They're broken into 4 different posts. They're right now on the BookBaby blog. In about a week or so, we're compiling these into one PDF that has everything in just one nice download. We'll email you details of that if you sign up for our list, and that'll be available around the 1st of September. So again, all this information and a lot more is in those blog posts, and then it's going to be consolidated again in the one post. Okay? All right. I'd like to conclude with a few things, and here's a nice note we got from Zachary. Great customer service, high quality product. Throughout my entire relationship with BookBaby, I've received prompt, detailed, excellent customer service, and a high quality product. I would not hesitate to use them again or recommend them to a fellow author. Thank you very much, Zachary. It's lovely to hear that. We are dropping a new BookBaby Spotlight podcast tomorrow. I've got to read, Sam and Chad are the ones who are doing this. I've got to read their great copy they gave me about this. It's episode 8 of this year, and he says the unsung hero of late night writer's block and crumpled pages is that fresh pot of coffee, helping countless writers push on with their labors of love. But did you know that humble cup of joe comes with incredible health benefits too? Thank God. I'm glad to hear that. Dr. Shanchi Chopra joins the podcast to talk about his book, Coffee, the Magic Elixir, that's being published this fall with BookBaby. And information from Dr. Chopra can be found on his website, https://sanjivchopra.com. If you're interested, yes, the last name does sound familiar. Deepak Chopra is his brother. So check out the podcast, and I think you'll learn a lot. Then finally, my favorite time, as usual, we're going to go to some questions. And I see they are rolling in. Okay, and I'll start with Tony. Ask, how do you build on an email list? Okay, give me 2 weeks and watch for the blog. I've got right now it's at 7,000 words, and I need to trim it back. I know Andre might be watching the presentation, and he's going to be screaming. He's our blog manager. I'm going to have a very comprehensive article about everything you need to do about establishing and building an email list. So give me 2 weeks, Tony, and I'll give you all the information. All right. Okay. So Linda Cullen asks, why? Well, I'm in pre-sale on Amazon. Can I directly sell my book on my website? The answer is absolutely yes. And that's something I'm going to be mentioning, as we're coming down the pike. It's November. A person has an ebook, a person has done their POD, but they're not yet available on Amazon because of the pre-sale period. You absolutely can release it on your own bookshop page. And it's something that is very important, especially those who have time pressure, who have sensitivity. We're working with an author right now in New Mexico who needed to get the book out. We ran into some issues with the edits. It took a little bit longer, but he's able to satisfy what he needs to with the folks based on selling it through bookshop. So that's a great question. Thank you. Michael Vix asked, what's my take on WordPress? I'm actually using a WordPress plugin for my own website. I find it very useful and helpful. I think it's as robust of a website that you possibly need. Does it have every single bell and whistle? Well, no, but I don't think as a mostly amateur author, someone who's not a professional marketing firm, you really don't need all of the bells and whistles to say what we have on bookbaby.com. So I think WordPress is more than fine. It's easy, and it's also very stable. They're not going away. It's always going to be supported. So I would recommend using that. Okay. So Janet asked, my book is in production at BookBaby. How do I set up my bookshop? So if it's still in production, you can't set it up yet. But as soon as your book is completely done, you've signed off on the proofs, design and formatting and editing's already been done, but you've looked at all of your proofs and boom, it's go time, you're going to be prompted saying, okay, great. Now it's time to set up your BookBaby page. All the information you've already typed in that you needed, the metadata for Amazon or other places, boom, that ports over automatically into Bookshop. So you really don't have to do much of anything if you don't want to, except for moving a little slide in your project center saying, make me available on Bookshop. It's very easy. But you can call our distribution experts if you have any questions. But you can't load it up until your book is out of production. All right, I'm going to go into a couple that I had from before. Joe Lavis, he asked, do postcards work when trying to sell a new book? Well, that depends, Joe. I do love printed materials like bookmarks, which we sell, postcards, which we can do as well. Nailing a postcard now is pretty expensive. I think we're up to 30-something cents, 35 cents, if I'm not mistaken. They've taken a lot of the postal discounts. If you're using them as handouts, awesome. They're great. Leaving them on the counters of coffee shops if somebody will allow you to, or even in bookstores if that'll do it. Or if you're doing a book signing, postcards are fantastic. I can't say that unless you have a very engaged list, that the postage, if you're having to mail those out, if you have an address list, it might not be worth it. It depends on, again, how strong your list is. If you have an existing reader base and you know that they're going to buy based on a postcard, do it. I love it. My mailbox isn't nearly as filled up as it used to be, even 5 years ago. So I advocate for anything going back to the post office. Okay, let's go back to some questions. Thurlston Robinson asked, should I entertain marketing companies? Well, that's going to be a personal choice. Publicists are not cheap. And you need to make sure that you are with a reputable publisher. We are a reputable publicity house. We recommend one that's a neighbor to us over in South Jersey, Smith Publicity. They're a fantastic firm. They don't take all the clients. They want to make sure the book is really good before they're going to take anyone's money, which is good. But they will do a fantastic job. If you drop me an email on that, I can recommend a few others Tell me about the genre of your book, and I can point you to some people I know who will do a good job and are very reputable. Okay. Let me see a couple more. I think Carter. I don't know if we're going to have time to announce our winner. It would be nice. How Heather Nedra Johnson asked, how can I track my sales on Amazon and other bookstores? Very simple. If you're with BookBaby, we have a dashboard that lists out all of your sales between all your different stores, between printed books and ebooks. We also have one more thing, which I don't think I'd mentioned before in the broadcast. BookBaby has an app. We have an app that you can find in the Apple Store and in the Android store. And again, it's only for published authors. But you can go on there, log on, you put your account information in there, your same password as with BookBaby, and you can see how your sales are doing on the fly. So it's a very cool thing. We're going to be building a lot more into that app. You're going to be able to eventually, reprint books and do a lot more things with this. So this is just the very first generation of it, but it's pretty cool to have an app out there. It's pretty awesome. Okay, and I'm going to conclude this broadcast with an announcement. Pep Edwards is the winner of the consultation for 15 minutes. So Pep, I'll be getting in touch with you. You know what? I'm going to answer one more question. I have a manuscript ready to go to editing. Can I pull this off by editing? I don't know exactly what that means. If you're thinking about timing, it's getting awfully late. There it is. Can I pull this off by Christmas? You know what? If it's a children's book and it's something like that, and it can be quickly edited, that's fine. But we're really at the point where the book has to be in production very early. Now, does that mean hope is lost? Of course not. What I just mentioned, you can still sell a book through Bookshop even while it's sitting waiting in pre-sales in Amazon. So ebooks and selling books through Bookshop are going to be your answer for even somebody who doesn't get a book done until November. They could have it in there. We could have it up as an ebook and up onto Bookshop early enough. But you'll have to point your readers back to Bookshop, which is better for you because you make a lot more money. You might make 15% on an Amazon sale of a printed book. You'll make 50% if you sell it yourself through our Bookshop. But anyway, all right. With that, let me conclude episode 7. I want to thank you for all of your attention. And by the way, if I can get to that slot, there it is right there. If you have any more questions, there's my email address. Very simple, Stephen@bookbaby.com. Happy to answer them either here or do it directly, or sometimes I do it in a mailbag. So I will get back to you. Again, I want to thank you for your time and attention, and enjoy the rest of summer. But if you've got a book out there, time to get planning for those holiday sales. So thank you very much.